guys, it's Casey. So I look terrible right now because it's the end of Thanksgiving Day and I had a very long day. Went to a couple of family gatherings. Um, so it's very late. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. But I wanted to go ahead and shoot this. First of all, because I wanted to say Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. This year has been a very long and hard year for everybody. And I know everybody's going through some very trying times, both financially and family-wise, with illnesses and health. So I just wanted to get on here and wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to do a tutorial with you guys. This is not an original design at all. In fact, both of the things I'm going to use in this video have been done on many channels. So definitely isn't a original design. I just wanted to pop on here and design with you guys. I've already done one. This is a pair of earrings. It's gonna be a herringbone pair of earrings, and this is what it looks like, and I will show it to you a little more when I turn the camera around. But this is using some beads from the Bargain Bead Box. So I just wanted to do another little tutorial with the Bargain Bead Box, and this probably won't get posted till tomorrow, but I just wanted to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving, and let's get started on this tutorial. Alright, I'm going to turn you guys around. Give me just a second. Okay, so I'm going to warn you guys right now that this is going to be in no means perfect. I will not even claim that. I will do the best on this that I can, but this is my first ever time doing herringbone. So I just wanted to try it, and I thought these beads would be perfect for it. I used these great big handmade lampwork glass beads that were purple with gold. And then on the bottom, I made my own heart head pin off of a tutorial by I think it's, I can't even think of it. I will link the video in the description below so that you can see it. It keeps wanting to turn around on me. But that's what the little heart looks like. So I thought it was very pretty, and I dangled it at the bottom. And then this was the big bead. Now I had to use bead caps, although they don't really do anything except cover the hole. But just disclaimer there. I will tell you that I tried it to begin with on a smaller bead, on the smaller beads actually, these ones, and it turned out like a disaster. So I will tell you, if it's your first time doing a herringbone stitch, start with a big bead and smaller gauge wire. So this is actually 22 gauge wire, only because I cannot find my 24 gauge. I have no clue where it went to, but it's a gold to kind of match the beads. So if 22 gauge is too hard for you, then do a 24 gauge. I just couldn't find mine right now, otherwise I would have, honestly. So you're going to need one of these beads. You're going to need a couple bead caps, and only because the holes in these beads were so large, I didn't want my stitch to go up in it. Then you're going to need a 4mm jump ring, an ear wire, any kind of head pin. You can make your own like this, and I'll link that video in the description, or you can just use a regular head pin, whatever you want to do. I also made these head pins, which I thought maybe I might use on these, but I changed my mind because I wanted something a little fancier. And these are done by Sara Ellis on Jesse James Beads YouTube channel, and I'll actually link that video in the description as well, so that you can make these too if you want, because it has like a rosette on the bottom. And I really like to use this kind of stuff because you can make it with your regular wire and it'll be the exact same color as the wire you're using. So there's those, and I'll link that too. You are going to need about, I don't know, 20 24 to 30 inches of wire, 22 gauge or 24 gauge. If you're more knowledgeable in this stitch, then you can use a thicker gauge, but if you're new at doing it, you definitely want to go with a thinner gauge. So I've got that here. It's a very large piece of wire. And then tools wise, you're going to need a pair of cutters, flush cutters. You are going to need, and this is one of the most important tools, your Nylon Jaw Pliers. And I've actually broken mine. They're kind of just hanging on there by a thread. I need a new pair, but they will get the job done for the moment. You definitely need some round nose pliers. Sorry, I'm trying to get it to show in the video for you. Some chain nose pliers. And I have bent nose pliers here as well. So those are the pliers I have. And so everybody get your materials together and let's get started on this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our wire and we are going to, oh, sorry, one more thing. You might need a ruler. You don't have to do this part, but it helps me a lot. So you're going to measure about 3.5 inches down of your wire, and that's where you want to do your bend at. So go about 3.5 inches, and then put a bend in your wire there to do your wire wrap loop. So that's a wire wrap loop is what you're going to do at the top. So then we come in here with our round nose pliers and we're going to go up and over and then continuing around like that. And you can turn your pliers so it looks like this, and just do a little adjusting while you're right here so it's where you want it to be. Okay, and then you're going to take your extra end here and I'm actually going to switch hands real quick. You can do this using some pliers if you want, or just your fingers, and we are going to wrap this around, and you want to wrap it about 10 times. And you can do the adjusting like I showed you in the last video, where you push things up and you tighten. And I will tell you, it's a lot more difficult to work around a camera than it is to work normally. So it shouldn't be as difficult for you as it is for me. Oops, sorry guys. Yeah, trying to work around a camera is definitely not the easiest. Okay, and so I just counted my coils last time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we will need to go around, I'm sorry guys, we need to go around 4 more times. That's 1. And like so, you can push your wire up as you go. And I totally pushed that out of place. So when you do that, just use your chain nose pliers and pinch it down. And it will guide around there. So I don't know where I am now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's where we want to stop. You're going to need your flush cutters and cut it off as close as you can back there. And this is what you end up with. Now I'm going to do a little adjusting to mine because some of those are a little wide, and you don't really have to do this step. I'm just a perfectionist, and so I like to do this step. And like I said in the last video, I will let you know that your bent nose pliers helps a lot with this. So you just want to push that down as much as you can, and then I'm going to pinch this together as much as I can. And like I say, it does not have to look perfect by any means, but I am a perfectionist, so I'm going to push it together just a tad. And then you want to adjust your loop as much as you can so that it looks the way you want it to look. And sometimes I even put my round nose pliers on and shape it a little better. So, okay, and that's what we're left with. So there we go. Then you've got this very, very long tail left, and what we're going to do is we are going to thread on a bead cap. And make sure you get through that center hole, because these are those little flower ones. And then this big purple bead, and like I said, if this is new to you, if you haven't done the herringbone stitch, because this is my first time ever making earrings, I found that when I used a smaller bead, it was a lot harder. So for practice sake, you might want to start with a larger bead. And I thought these big purple lampwork glass ones would be great. See, and I totally didn't get the middle right there. Okay, now I did. And then you are going to push that all the way down to your end here, so it looks like this. Okay, and then you need to do about 10 wraps on the other side as well. So what I found was, I actually learned this from Sara Ellis off of Jessie James Beads, and I can link her tutorial too in the description. But she said that you need about 1/4 of an inch. So you can measure that with your ruler if you want, but I discovered that the end of my pliers way back here is about 1/4 of an inch. So instead of measuring it, I just went to that. I would go to the very back of my pliers and put a bend. So then you've got this much space. And then you're going to do another wire wrapped loop. I'm sorry, I'm caught on something. This is a very long piece of wire. And like I say, it's much harder to do behind the camera. So you want to come in here like this and do your wrap over. And then continue around. And I just guide both pieces until I like the way it looks. And mine kind of got out of shape a little here. So I'm just kind of guide it back into shape. And you see my bend got out there. I'm not sure exactly how, but it did. So I'm going to put a new bend in it. So there's my bend now. Put a new bend. And you can still do these things while you're unwrapped. Once you wrap it, you're pretty much stuck with the shape that you are at, because you're just pretty much done at that point. So then you're just going to wrap this around, and it's going to be very difficult for me because I'm behind the camera and I have 20 some inches to work with, but just do the best you can. Like I say, it should be easier for you guys. And get my loop started here. Okay. So then just keep going. And that bead cap might mess you up just a tad. But just, like I say, do the best you can. This is still just practice, just kind of working at it. And I'm going to keep pushing this stuff up because it'll drive me nuts if I don't. So there's that. And keep going around. And I'm not counting this time because I pretty much measured. I had to hold these pliers here up to my ruler and measure them to make sure that they were about 1/4 inch. Sorry guys. Okay. And your last one may be a little messy because you're going to be tight on space there. So, I'm going to pull this off real quick. And my loop is so crazy. Okay, I'm going to back up just a little bit because I got over the other ones. There. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed, but my loop is way crazy. Super crazy. So I'm going to try to adjust it just a tad. And like I say, this is my first pair of herringbone earrings that I've ever done. So it's a work in progress. And having this much wire to work with is a little difficult. Okay. So see, definitely not perfect or an artist at all. But one can only try. Oh goodness. Okay, so now we're over here to the side. And that's where we want to be. And I'm going to tell you now that your best friend is going to be your Nylon Jaw Pliers. Right here. Because since you've messed with this all up, you want to straighten this out as much as you can. Because it'll make your herringbone wrap so much tighter and easier to work with. So just straighten as much as you can. And then you're left with a pretty straight piece of wire and your coil with your bead. So then now that we're over here, we are going to come down along the side of this bead until you get to the bottom. You're going to cross over the top here. Oh, come on, focus in. You're going to cross over the top here of this at the bottom, and then wrap it around. Let me see if I can get it to come into focus for you guys. And wrap it around. So you're way up there, as tight as you can be, but with that around the bead. Then you're going to follow the other side of the bead. Oh, I'm sorry. Follow the other side of the bead just like you did that first. And then come to the top once again, to the front, and wrap around. Pushing it down as far as you can each time. And each time, if you need to, you can re-straighten your wire, if that's what you need to do. If it's gotten wonky, then straighten it again. So we've got one complete herringbone stitch, either side. One wrap around either side. And I will tell you, mine look a little wonky because these handmade beads are not completely round. They are side heavy on this right hand side. Well, on yours it would be left hand, but yeah, on this side it's kind of wonky, if you can see that. This side's pretty circular, this side's kind of wonky, and it happened to be the exact same way on this one as well. You see how it's kind of side wonky? But that's okay. I still liked them. I thought they were very pretty. So now what we're going to do is we are going to do one of those same stitches going along the side of the bead and wrapping around the front to the back, and then coming up and going around to the top and wrapping around the front to the back again. But this time you want to make sure that your wire sits on the bead behind your previous one. So your previous wrap here, you set it behind that bead, and then you go down to the bottom and you wrap around, adjusting as you need to, and come out. And then you do the same going up the side. You set it along the side to the back of that first one, and then you go to the front at the top and around. And you can push these down as much as you need to until you come out. And we are going to do, I think I did 4. So you can count your wraps by how many wires you have on the side. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's how many we're going to do. And we've got 2 done. And we're coming out the top there again. So we're going to go along that side. Again, behind your other stitch. And you can hold it down with your thumb. And come down to the bottom here. And wrap around. And I actually I use my whole bead sometimes to do that. And then come up the side here for your third wrap. Go to the front and wrap around again. Okay, coming out the side, we're going to go once again down this side and set it to the back of that. When you get to the bottom, you wrap it all the way around as tightly as you can, and then come up the side again on this side. And this is our final wrap of our herringbone stitch. Now, we have all this extra wire still, and it was a lot of wire to start with. So what I'm going to do with it is I am going to just wrap a couple more wraps around here and then snip it off. And that's just to give it a little bit more security. And we're going to call that good. So I want to be at the back of my stitch. And whoops, those are not my cutters. Then we're going to snip that off. And I'm just going to save this piece of wire for something else. That's a pretty large piece of wire. Then you're going to come in here with your chain nose, or, well, I'm using my bent nose, and you're going to clip in that end. Just push it in as much as you can so it's not in the way It's not going to poke you or anybody else. And mine like to come up a little bit. You can even tuck it down if you need to. And there is our herringbone stitch. Just like that. And I kind of finagled with it and bent it around just a little bit just to make it look nice. Make sure your loops are pointing the same direction. Oops. Sorry, guys. I'm moving my mat. Make sure your loops are the same direction so they look nice. And like I say, if you need to adjust your loop, you definitely can. There's not a lot you can do with it now, but you definitely can still adjust it. All right. So there is my little herringbone piece, and I think this looks gorgeous. And for a first attempt, I thought I did very good. Now, I thought the smaller bead that I used it on at first was horrendous. I hated it. And I'm not the hugest fan because these are not completely round, but for not being completely round, I think it looks very nice. So then what I did was I did a little dangle here at the bottom just because I wanted it to just have this cute little dangle. And I thought about doing just one of these purple beads at the bottom here that we got with our Bargain Bead Box, but I thought that would be too unnoticeable. So I did one purple, a gold spacer, and another purple. So that's the pattern I've got to get out again. And sorry, I actually had these out. I just stuffed them up here. And so that's what I need. A purple, a gold spacer, and a purple. And then I made this head pin, my own little head pin with a heart on it. They're not perfect by any means. This was my first attempt at those two. And I think the person who did it is St. Clair or something like that is their channel name. So I will link the video, though, in the description because it's super fun to make your own little head pins, especially because they'll match exactly the wire you're going for. So, and I thought it was super cute. It's just a little heart, a spiral heart. So, loved it. So then we're just going to thread on a little purple bead, a gold spacer, and another little purple bead. And I'm going to do a wire wrapped loop on these as well. So I'm going to come up here to the top, give myself just a little bit of space, turn a loop, come in with my round nose pliers at that loop, or I mean that turn, sorry, that bend, and I'm going to make a loop, looping over the top and over and adjust it just like that. And this is when you want to do any tweaking. So if you really have tweaking you want to do, now's the time. So I can already see I want to turn this just a tad. And there we go. And then you're just going to wrap your loop. Sorry, I didn't have that far enough down. And just try to get it as tight up there as you can. And wrap down to your beads without breaking the beads. Because that's very easy to do when you're working with crystal. I'm actually going to call it good back here because I don't think there's enough room for another full wrap. So I'm going to, well, yeah, no, there's not enough room for another full lap. So snip it off as close as you can. and then fold in your ends. The best you can. And adjust your loop so it's straight. And you're left with this. So there's my little dangly. And then I've got a 4mm jump ring right here that I'm going to hook these two together with. So you grab your pliers and your jump ring. Open it up laterally. Make sure you open it this way and not pull it. If you pull it apart, you won't get it back into that round shape. Okay, and then we're going to hook it on here and hook it on here. And then close your jump ring up really good. And this is just something I've been interested in trying for a very long time. So when you have it turned around the right way, you should have that really cute little heart and your little heart dangly and your herringbone stitched piece. Then you just want to add on your ear wire. And I use these ear wires from the Bargain Bead Box as well. So the only thing that's not from the Bargain Bead Box in this tutorial is the wire. The wire's not from the Bargain Bead Box. Okay, then you just got to make sure that you get your ear wire on right so that it sits properly. And there you have it. Another really, really cute earring. And then I do that one step further thing where I clench my ear wire shut. So I still can't find my stylus. I have no clue what I've done with it. But you can use the end of a pen and just clench your wire around it. So that is what I did. And see, it just makes it a tighter fit there. And then hook these into a card, and that's what it looks like. And give me just a second. I'm going to put this on a stand, actually, to let you look at it. So give me just a second. Okay, so here's our earrings. And this is just a stand that I got at Hobby Lobby, so excuse any dust you see. I kind of hate these black velvet ones. They attract all kinds of dust. But here's your pair of earrings side by side. That's your herringbone stitch and your little danglies, and I think they're super cute. I really, really like them, and I'm very happy with them, especially for my first try. And so I just want to let you know that even if you haven't done this and you followed the instructions like I showed you, you can do it too, because this is my first try too, and I think it looked really good for my first try. So, and every skill takes practice. You're not going to learn anything from doing it once. You have to practice. So, like I say, I did another pair and I tore them all apart because I absolutely hated them. I thought they were horrendous. But they were made using a smaller bead, and so I think I needed to use a smaller gauge of wire. But I just can't find mine currently. So, but here's they are. And I'm so happy to be here with you guys to bring you this tutorial. I want to wish everybody a very, very happy Thanksgiving. I hope everyone had a good day, even though some of us can't see our families because they're out of state or whatever. I just hope that you still had a good day with the family that you have around you. So I will see you guys on the next video, and happy Thanksgiving again. Bye, guys.